Hi. Almost everyone watches me without a subscription. Please support my channel with a subscription. I try for you. Thank you. Story 1. Man has been separated from his wife for years, but still loves her. Made this burner account today so I could really get this off my chest. I, 34M, have been separated from my wife, 33F, for a couple of years. Known each other since we were kids and have been together since our adolescence. We separated amicably because honestly I was tired of being a less than stellar provider. For context, my wife is a lawyer and worked hard to get to where she is. I'm a stay-at-home writer who didn't make any real money until the last few years. Me being a stay-at-home worker meant that I've always been around for our kids, an 11-year-old girl and twin 6-year-old boys. If my wife was my universe, my kids are the stars in it. So I decided to go and get my shit in order, and she understood, since her being the only breadwinner wasn't an issue, until it was, and we went our separate ways. I went and upped my craft and have been getting more and more job opportunities, so I'm now financially better off. I'm still not making lawyer money, but I'm definitely good enough to handle things now. It's been a few years, and in that time I've come full circle with a lot of things. Like the passing of my father and my own personality flaws. And amidst all the discovery, I discovered something that I think I've always known. I still love her. Big surprise, but bear with me. I can't shake this feeling in my heart that she's still the one for me. So I first felt this a year ago when I saw her at a family get-together. She brings my kids and obviously stays to chat with my family since they obviously enjoy her company. And I couldn't take my eyes off her. She was gorgeous, and no biggie. I'm probably just alone and stupid. Thought nothing of it. A few weeks later, I was dropping off our kids at her house after they had spent the weekend with me. She was in the same damn pajama bottoms she's had since college, and her hair was in a top bun. And she was still gorgeous. Now I'm worried. So I talked to my therapist about it, and over the next few months I focus on other things. I get in better shape. Change my hairstyle, and for the first time I'm even growing facial hair. I'm working on me so that I can eventually tell myself that maybe I was just lonely and going through things. Well, 6 months later, here I am to tell you that I still love her, now like how she feels, but I'm sure of it in my heart of hearts now that I love her with every fiber of my being, and truthfully, I don't think I've ever stopped. So what's stopping me now? I don't want to overstep. Maybe she's not feeling that way anymore. Maybe she's moved on, who knows? I also gotta be mindful of my kids. Last thing I want to do is get their hopes up with something that might never happen. Lastly, how can I make sure I don't mess this up again? Things are going really well for me, but I'd give it all up to have her back in my life. So Reddit, think y'all can help your boy out? Update. So I just got back from the date. We went to this restaurant that we used to like before we had kids. I didn't know what to wear, so I just went kind of business casual, and she was stunning as per usual. We ordered appetizers and talked about some lighter stuff, like how our daughter loves soccer, how the boys are starting to look more and more like me. They some little chunky things, but I love him, and she made fun of me for getting the same appetizer I always get. Why mess with perfection, right? So as the night goes on and we finish out dinner, I worked up the nerve to just tell her the truth, and do it so I wouldn't overwhelm her. I told her that I was proud of her for everything she had done, especially in her career, and how she's always been a great mom in person. She immediately stopped eating, looked at me and said, "Are you dying?" Needless to say, I laughed pretty hard. I was gonna say something corny like, "No baby, I'm dying without you," but I figured this wasn't the time. I just said, "No, I'm okay. I just wanted you to know that I appreciate you," and she in turn told me that while she appreciated it, she wished that O was around more. I told her that I'd never turn my back on our kids and that I want to be with them even more, but she said it wasn't about the kids. She wanted me to be around more for her. I asked her what she meant, and she just unloaded on me, telling me that she always believed in me and that when I left it made her feel like she wasn't good enough. I told her that I was sorry and that I never meant to make her feel that way. She said the reason we weren't divorced is because she didn't want to admit to herself that it was over. that the man she's loved her whole life could up and decide that the relationship we'd built together wasn't enough. I stopped her right there. And I told her everything. And I mean everything. That she's my everything and that I couldn't bear to be a failure and let her down. And that I didn't do what I did out of some selfish desire, but because I wanted to make more out of my life so I could do more for her and our children. She said that it felt like I had changed everything about myself because I was ashamed of who I was, when she always loved who I was. I asked her what she meant and she pointed at how I'm dressed, how I've lost weight, even how I style my hair. It was like, in her opinion, the old me wasn't the real me and this person in front of her was just an imitation. I told her that who I am on the outside may have changed a bit, but the man you love, the one you truly love, is still here in front of you. She didn't say much after that. I paid for dinner and decided to take her home. Maybe it was all too much. So we're driving back and I look at her while I drive. She's still a bit emotional from dinner. I plug in my AUX cable. And I play the song Always Be My Baby by Mariah Carey. She loves that song so much I must have heard it a million times. And I start to sing it to her. The chorus goes, "You will always be a part of me, and I'm part of you indefinitely. Boy, don't you know you can't escape me. No, darling, 'cause you'll always be my baby." I'm singing the hell out of this song, guys. And she's smiling a bit, especially as I ruin the riffs, and I swear I meant every goddamn word. She's finally singing along with me. And when the car stops, I open my door and get out to open hers. I walk her to the front door and tell her how much I enjoyed tonight. She says that she didn't know I knew all the words to the song. And of course I know it, because, well, it's about us in a way. I kiss her hand and ask her if she'd like to go out with me again. She said yes. Now we're home. Well, I'm typing this while she's sleeping next to me on her couch. I tucked her in and I'm just watching her now. I'm gonna go kiss my kids and get out of here. I don't know how long or how far this is gonna go. But one thing's for sure. She's still and will always be my baby. Story 2. My husband's browser history shattered my heart. My husband's browser history shattered my heart. I will try to make this as short as possible. It's a lot to unpack. But there is some backstory that's important. We've been married for 9 years and have 2 little kids. Our relationship has had its ups and downs throughout the years, but nothing terrible or that we couldn't pull through, mostly pure exhaustion from hard pregnancies, disconnection, and lack of sex because of said difficult pregnancies, and a super difficult infant who didn't sleep for 2 years, bankruptcy, a job he hated. Yeah, it's been a little tough. But we're each other's person, you know? Like, I love this man to the ends of the earth. So when I tell you what I saw in his browser history not only shattered my heart, but I could literally feel parts of my soul dying. So here we go. About a year ago, my husband and I had a huge heart-to-heart talk about reconnecting and wanting to get back to a new normal after kids. So we started really making us a priority, rebuilding our relationship and sharing our most intimate feelings. My husband opened up to me about his desire to give a man oral. That he isn't attracted to men, but he is attracted to male genitals. Now, I have no problem with this. In fact, I felt this overwhelming sense of attraction to him in that moment. I loved how vulnerable and honest he felt like he could be with me. It was special. So we talked more and more about what that situation would look like, etc. We both agreed on our boundaries, and our number 1 rule, no matter what, is to always do anything sexual, together. So we found a safe avenue to meet like-minded couples. We had one experience and it was great, but was uncontrollably cut short. So we've opened our minds to the possibility of trying to find a male friend. In the meantime, husband gets a new job and is starting to travel. Fast forward 3 months after our last and only experience, and husband gets the news that he will be traveling to Europe for 10 days. The weeks leading up to this trip, he was so distracted with what I thought was travel plans, bookings, ordering things he needed for his trip. I give him grace because he's never been to Europe and I know he's excited. Fast forward to the night before he leaves. We're laying in bed, cuddling, about to love on each other, and out of the blue he asks me if I met a man in Europe, would you be okay with me doing stuff with him? My heart sank to my stomach. My throat closed up and all I could squeak out was an "oh." I could tell that he was disappointed in my response, and he said, "I don't want you to worry. I just needed to ask, and now I know." I couldn't talk. I just cried myself to sleep. He woke up before me that morning and sent a long apologizing text to me to read when I woke up, telling me not to worry. I said no, and that is that. I just found this whole situation so odd and so random. Like what? And then he asks me the night before he leaves. So I tell him that I'm super uncomfortable and I am worried because he's leaving for 10 days and we can't unpack this together the way we need to. He literally leaves like 2 hours later. Every single internal alarm is going off, red flags are waving in the wind, and I looked at his browser history and it broke my spirit. According to his history, 2 days after he found out he would be traveling, he created a sex dating profile for this particular area. Then he deleted his profile the morning after he asked me the question. Then reactivated the account the moment he got to the airport. His profile read, "Seeking couples or a single male to show him around, have a few drinks, and if things go well, maybe some guy-on-guy playtime." Heart shattered. Then I see that he has spent hours researching happy ending massages, sex clubs, BDSM clubs, glory holes, and escorts. All female escorts. He researched pricing and location proximity to his hotel room. As far as I'm able to tell, nothing happened with anyone from the sex site, but it wasn't because of his lack of effort. He was trying real hard. But I have very little confidence in saying I doubt something happened. Whether it was a strip club, which he can go, but it has to be with me, one of our rules, or a sex club, or a happy ending massage. I've looked at our finances, and if anything did happen, he paid cash or has a card I don't know about. So, I'm just here, staring at our little kids, heartbroken and hiding it from the world. I don't want our marriage to end, but I feel like this is going to be a very painful process, and I just want to be the best mom to our kids, and doing that while mending a broken heart is just the hardest thing I've tried to do. I don't know how to tell him I know. I also know, now, that he researches these things everywhere he travels and is most likely visiting a strip club twice a month when he's gone. I'll never understand hurting someone you love, even if you think they won't find out. Sigh. Update: about 2 days after my post, I had a dream I had a heart attack because of all of this stress, and I decided that enough was enough. I hugged him that morning and told him that we needed to talk about something tonight after the kids were in bed. So he had to think about it all day and I had more time to prepare my words. Around 8 p.m. when the house was silent, I asked if he had anything he wanted to tell me and that this was his one and only chance to come clean to me about anything he had done that would hurt me. He confessed to going to a strip club in the town he has to travel to often, not Europe. I just looked at him and said, "Keep going." He kind of stumbled with words and looked confused and slightly panicked, so I said, "Here, let me just hand you my phone." I handed him my phone, and on the screen I had pulled up my Reddit post. I said, "It's probably better for you to read it because I don't know if I can get the words out properly." He read everything, and some of the comments he immediately apologized for everything. He said he visited one strip club and one sex club while in Europe. He said he walked in, got grossed out, and walked out of the sex club, but stayed at the strip club for a few drinks. I just let him talk, and I cried and cried, hoping I could get it all out so I would be able to utter the words, "I don't believe you." Those words came out of my mouth at a volume and intensity I don't know that I've ever felt before. "I don't believe you," came barreling through the tears, and then the anger hit. For the first time in our relationship, "I don't believe you." That sentence took both of our breaths away. I could see the feeling of failure and remorse on his face. I asked why. Like I need an effing answer as to why you felt the need or desire to do this. Even though I do believe he didn't actually physically do anything with anyone, he reassured me 100 times. Am I dumb for believing that? Maybe, but my gut has been pretty spot on, so I'm following it on this. He told me, just like a lot of you have said, that the app, the research of escorts, was just another, more real feeling, porn. That he absolutely could have done things with people there, but never ever had a plan to go through with anything. Because I said no to his request about hooking up with someone in Europe if he met the right person, he said he just looked and masturbated to the thought of knowing he basically could buy a good time anytime he wanted with these people, and it's legal. I wanted to punch him, I didn't, not as I balled my fists. I screamed, grow up. You are a husband, a father, a son, a brother. You have a life so many people can't even dream about. You have a wife, right in front of you, willing to go above and beyond for this relationship and your sexual curiosities, and what do? Focus all of your time and energy on strangers on the internet. Shatter my trust for you. Blasted through a boundary that was set about solo visits to strip clubs, because you felt like that was the lesser of the evils and you've put so much time and effort into this research, you might as well reward yourself for not hooking up with escorts in Europe. He really didn't have much to say as I paused for a breath, other than you're right. I've been awful and I don't know what to say to make you believe that I wouldn't harm our family. I wouldn't harm your health by being with any of those people I researched. I hope you know I know how lucky I am, and I don't know why I can't control myself. I told him that I absolutely believe that he has a porn addiction that has now turned extremely dangerous for us as couple and family. He agreed. Without defense, he agreed to everything I said. We are going to start counseling together, and singularly, there is so much more to say, but I'm tired. This has been so taxing and I'm just getting through it. I know I'm going to get so much hell for staying with him. I've made it perfectly clear that this is it. My words to him were, if he messes up, the kids and I are out. I told him that I had to sit down and imagine a completely new life with the kids. I've had to endure that heartache of imagining our lives moving on without him. I've already calloused my heart to the thought. Which should scare the hell out of you. But also know this, I will not go down silently. This is your chance to be a better man. Right here. Right now. He has been amazing to us since then. He has owned up to his word and kept his promises, so far. He has been communicating with me about so many things. He has decreased his porn habits by probably 90%. He's dating me again and playing with the kids more. I feel like I'm seeing the person I married again. But I'm also so scared that when this honeymoon phase ends, what's next? Ugh. People, just don't hurt your person. Make life beautiful and just love them with all you've got.